Peace and power, family. My name is Dennis Assar Winkler, also known as the psycho-social spiritual entrepreneur. And we want to thank you for rocking with the Conscious Black Business Network, where consciousness meets commerce. So, family, this platform was created to help and assist, to inspire entrepreneurs, business owners, and aspirants. And it's all about black business. So, as a wise elder once told me, that everything that we do, family, everything that we do is business. Everything that we do is business. So, nonetheless, we have a very, very powerful show coming up today. But before we get into the show, I just want to talk about, just give you a few places to go. You can go and join our Facebook fan page. Just go to Facebook and just go there right now. And go and look up the Conscious Black Business Network. Type in Conscious Black Business Network group, and you can join the group. We have a lot of things coming up. We have a lot of things going on. We have a lot going on. So just go there and join that private, exclusive group. Also, while you're on Facebook, go to our Conscious Black Business Network Studios page, where we upload different videos, where we upload our different interviews that we do in the studio, where we do, actually on our blog talk show, where we do in person. People here, we interview people. It's all about black empowerment, family. So, nonetheless, again, we utilize the word conscious. And conscious, it always can be misinterpreted. So what we do before we start our show is we always talk about what consciousness means to us. And we take an excerpt out of Dr. Amos Wilson's book. He talks about consciousness, and he says consciousness refers to a level of physiological and psychological arousal which permits the individual to be conscious or aware of his internal or external environment, and facilitates his or her ability to regulate his cognitive and behavioral capabilities towards achieving goals he or she finds desirable. He says that consciousness, family, he says consciousness is a type of active intelligence. And family, we have a phenomenal living legend on the show tonight. I'm going to let Brother Sankofa talk about that a little bit more, but we definitely have an active person, a person on the show tonight, an elder, a Baba on the show that's going to, just share with us wisdom. And, when Dr. Amos Wilson speaks here is active. Consciousness is not just enough to know. We must put into action that which we know. So it's more than information. In fact, so what I want to do, I say, Brother Sankofa, how's everything going, brother? I hear you over there. You're doing your normal deep breathing exercises and all that type of thing. I can hear all the background noise. But nonetheless, you're there. I know you're alive. What's going on, brother?
Peace, my brother. Peace, family. All those tuning in, listening, local, near, and far, wherever you may be. Glad to be here on the show yet on another Conscious Black Business Network, a radio show. It's going to be a wonderful show, a marvelous show. Always a pleasure to hear your voice as well, Minister Assar. So let's go ahead and get into it, man. Let's get it popping.
All right, so, bro, what you want to talk? What you want to tell the people? We got anything's coming up? Anything's coming up in the near future? What we want to talk about? What's going on out there?
Oh man, there's a lot of things that are going on. A lot of things coming up. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So for those who are tuning in who don't already know, and for those who do know, this is just a reminder, okay, coming up this upcoming Saturday, December 19th, Global Terror, State of the World in the Midst of War. And we are definitely going to be honored, and we're going to have the pleasure to hear from our beloved elder, an author, activist, a comedian, a social critic, a father, a husband, an iconic legend, an entrepreneur himself, Baba Dick Gregory. Dick Gregory, who is definitely a Baba, a father in the community, and that's going to be taking place at the Real News Network, located at 231 Holiday Street, Baltimore, Maryland, 21202. You can get your tickets at Everyone's Place, which is located at 1356 West North Avenue. or you can also go to Conscious Heads Barbershop located at 219 East 25th Street. So definitely make sure you come out. There's going to be high-def streaming live, okay? Or you can have the option to actually go to, the Real News Network, the physical location, and be able to hear Brother Dick Gregory speak. And, we all know whenever he comes, and we're going to hear him on the show, but, we definitely know anytime he speaks, we must listen. There's no way we cannot listen because he has so much wisdom and so much experience, and he's definitely been a vessel in our community for so long. We know we're going to definitely get a lesson of empowerment whenever he speaks. So definitely get your tickets. And so, Minister Asar, you want to just shed light on the ticket prices and how that works, my brother?
Okay, yeah, Brother Sankofa. So we definitely want to share with the family, the listening audience, how to get their tickets, how they can get their, get their seats up in the place. So, family, what you want to do, first of all, I have an easy solution to it. We have about 50 places you can go, but I want to make it simple for you. Just go to consciousblackbusiness.com. Go to consciousblackbusiness.com, and you can either register for the live stream event. It's going to be, it doesn't matter where you are. You can be all around the world. You can join us with, Baba Dick Gregory this weekend. You can join us live in HD, clear, crystal clear HD. We're not talking about any no shabby stuff. We're talking about some real crystal clear, high definition. It's going to be like being there, as Brother Jabari Netur stated, a powerful brother in the community who's been bringing Baba Dick Gregory here for some time, for a long time, for quite a few years, so that he can disseminate the information. So we want to give a shout out to Brother Jabari Netur, also known as Daddy Watt Toto, the brother and his family, his crew, the Conscious Head Barbershop. He's an entrepreneur, and this show is, again, about the entrepreneurs, the aspirants, and, and just black business in general. So again, Black Brother Jabari, owner, principal of Conscious Heads Barbershop, the head of Survivors Nations, and also their contingency Reality Speaks, which has been bringing lecturers for years and years, including Baba Dick Gregory. I just saw a clip of Baba Dick Gregory with Brother Jabari a few days, maybe about a week ago. And at that time, it's several years ago, and at this time he spoke about coming to Baltimore at least twice a year with Brother Jabari. So Brother Jabari has been putting in the work, and he's been bringing awesome people such as the Baba Dick Gregory's, and the Ashraf Quazies and Francis Cresswellsons and the like. But so nonetheless, family, you can go to that website, and you can go there and you can click on either the ticket for the live stream, or you can click on the ticket so that you can be in a place with us. Today, until tomorrow, Brother Sankofa, the tickets are going to be $15 for the live stream. It's going to be $20, $25 to get into place. So you want to get the tickets, $25. Sankofa told you all the different ways to get them if you want to get the actual ticket, but you can also go online and you can get that ticket. And we're running out of seats. We're definitely running out of seats, so you definitely want to go ahead and get your ticket now. I'm telling you right now, you want to go ahead and you want to get the ticket now. $25 is going to be more at the door, and it's going to be more the day of the event if you're going to go on the live stream. So go ahead, get the ticket while you can. Like I said last week, let's save a few dollars. If we stop waiting to the end or the last minute of getting things, we could save a lot of money. So nonetheless, Brother Sankofa, would that suffice, brother?
Yeah, absolutely, my brother. That will suffice, and I appreciate you chiming in on the tickets. So definitely take us up on our offer. Do not let yourself, your family, or your people down. Be at this event. It is guaranteed to be one of empowerment, and it's going to be taking place from 7 o'clock p.m. to 10 o'clock p.m. Doors open at 6, so be there. So I don't know about you, Minister Asar, but I'm ready to hear from Brother Dick Gregory himself. I'm excited that he's joined us, and I'm honored, to definitely be able to hear from him. Let me see here. Brother Dick Gregory, are you there, sir?
I'm here. I've been listening to you, all the things you've been saying. Thank you. Let me just say to you, listening to you don't mean nothing if something comes out the spirit of the voice that quiets things, and then people hear things. And then there's a lot of universal order that goes with it. And one of those is once you're privileged to put on the magic glasses, you can never take them off. And once you put them on, you don't see things as they supposed to be. You see things as they is. And when you where you are now, you know, I think about all the grandmothers and grandfathers that was listening to you when they didn't have a number they can call. They don't know the computers, huh? They don't know how to do that. They know how to use the telephone and call in, and they're not about to get into the computers now. And so that the reason Donald Trump is so big and strong and Rush Limbaugh is because before that, ignorant, dumb, thug white folks didn't have no way to interpret what happened today. And the great thing about Limbaugh with all that jive is white folks started looking at us different after that because somebody gave them something they could talk about around the cooler. Somebody interpreted, and he interpreted it their way, not no sophisticated. Donald Trump is doing the same thing that George Wallace did. When George Wallace came north, all them racist white folks came out. And he messed up stuff so bad, they tried to kill him. Huh? They tried to kill him because he's messing up. And the same thing might happen now. I mean, first let me show you. He was in, I think, Lowell, Maryland, when he got shot. He was shot 5 times, huh? With a gun that shoots 5 times. And nobody ever said, then where'd the bullet come that hit the Secret Service agent and the woman? That's 7 shots. And that's how they play it, huh? We sit and we look there, and we been so busy first, we should never use the word community. We don't live in a community. A community is where you control your schools, your cops, your banks, your businesses, and everything. We don't control none of that. Think about black men going to war for this dog thug, to Vietnam, to Korea, kill them, they kill us, wound them, they wound us, and they can come here tonight and open up a business in your neighborhood and you can't open it up. And that don't seem to bother nobody. That don't bother nobody at all. We live in a hood, and a hood is something you put over your head when you're trying to hide something, huh? That's what this is about. So when you two brothers come out there, the folks hear you. The advantage is that once I can hear somebody I trust, I don't have to do the research, huh? That's you all's job. And then you get there and you make it sound so easy. So easy. But don't leave out. Don't leave out white supremacy. See, we always be, most white folks don't know what white supremacy is. And the white folks we mad at the wrong white folks. They're so poor and ignorant, they couldn't help us if they liked us, okay?
Absolutely.
I mean, think about white ain't a color, it's an attitude. And if you don't have trillions of dollars in the bank, you can't have that attitude. So most black folks that's listening tonight, you ain't never seen a white person. You seen an ignorant, redneck, cracker, Klansman, can't read, can't write, and then somebody tricked you to believe that they determine public policy, huh? And so you ain't angry. You don't shout and yell at AT&T. You don't shout and yell at Harvard University, huh? Because they don't look like that's who they are, huh? As white supremacy. And we talk about business, and we keep missing Little Black Wall Street, huh? Okay, y'all sit there and talk about it. Them white folks, the black brothers put together Chinese, Jews, Indians, and they was doing, the leader of it was doing $100,000 a week. Did you hear me? And when them white boys found out, they wanted to join. And they said, oh, no, you can't join. So that Monday they got in them crop dusters and came and bummed the whole area out. And if you go to Tulsa, go to the library and get the paper of that day, it's a big hole in it. Okay? A big hole in it. Okay? Now, something strange happened. Up until September the 11th. And see, that's their trickery. 9/11 tells the brain to be scared. We're one of the few countries in the world that don't use a number for a month. I was born October the 12th, not 10/12. May the 5th. If you went home tonight and your mother, daughter, wife, husband is on the phone, you say, who you talking to? Say, I just dialed 911. Think about what happens to your face. They so clever when they put 911. Anytime you say it, you tell the brain to be scared. That's what this cracker is about. Trillions of dollars, money for research. When they decided they was going to outer space, they didn't take no white folks that loved America. They went and got scientists from all over the world. That's what they did. We don't do that. Well, first, we don't have the money. But we just assume, well, let me tell you what, you don't know. If you are a psychiatrist and I got a brain tumor, I don't qualify to talk to you. Huh? I'm not doing nothing but wasting your time. And so consequently, when you sit and you look, that I'm hard to trick. I've been a black man for 83 years. A black mother, black father, black children, black wife. Never had sex with a white woman in my life. Why? Not because of love of a sister. I'm scared of them. And I'm born in 1932. I used to go to the movies every time the movie changed. I looked at Dracula, Wolfman, Frankenstein, and all of them came out of a white woman's belly. You think I'm going up there? Because I think old Frankie's still laying up there. And then to black women, you know, during slavery, I can understand your light complexion as you was being raped, you was being murdered. But now, you light complected women, not because of rape. You laying with that cracker, and I'm not saying this out of bitterness. I don't care what you do. My problem is to listen to you black women complain about black men with white women. I don't have no problem with that. Tell you what to do. Go to a Stevie Wonder concert, 20,000 people, and 99% of the black men in there are with black women. That don't mean they ain't got no white woman. But I'm saying, what is it about this white woman that terrorizes you? Huh? This one, the only thing Trump had really said when he called that white woman ugly. And what I'd like to see both of them have a baby together, and then they would find out what ugly is. They would find. Now watch this now. Watch her. Go to the football game. 100,000 people. 99% of the black men sitting in there are with black women. So what is it about a woman, white, that terrorizes you? Have you ever looked in the mirror at yourself and then look at her? Now, let me just say this here. Black men, I've been a black man, and you black men hear me. You hear very few black men talking about a sister with a white man. Huh? Oh. So I'm wondering, what is this fear? Huh? When I look at all these light-complected now, that ain't from rape. Huh? That ain't from rape. That's from, knock off a little in the check room at work and all of this kind of stuff. And so somewhere, when we stop and think. When you say to your children, you got to be twice as smart as a white. See, children didn't come from the Catholic Church or the Christian Church or the Muslim Church. They come from that universal God, the same God that put the pyramids into somebody's head so they could make them. The same God that put the stars in the sky. The same God. See, the word God means power. That's why they can call the mob the Godfather. That's all that means. It got nothing to do with spirituality. It means power. So when I grew up and I hear my mother and all them black folks and all this stuff about the elders, please, all elders is not worth honoring. If you was Hitler's son, would you honor him? I know my mama said some pull on my ears because she found out I wasn't saying the blessing. I was 9 years old. And I looked around and called her the B word. My mother went crazy. Said, what'd you call me? I called you. You heard me. Where you hear that? I hear Daddy call you that all the time. You ain't never pulled his ears. I wish you would pull my ears. I wish you would pull my ears. And so consequently, and she goes into that, you know, the Bible says, honor your mother and father. So you better look at that old raggedy Bible y'all gave me. I got it in my room. Go look at it. I scratched that out and said, if you honorable. If you honorable. I watch my mama, and I can understand these white racist police from my mother. My mother worked for some of the richest white folk. Some of the richest white folk, man. They didn't care nothing about her. They would leave in the summertime and take their children around the world and didn't leave a stipend for my mother. So she and them black women had to take ads out in the white paper. And them old ignorant, white, dirty, ungodly, spiritual white men would run ads in the St. Louis paper with a house that nobody lived in and trick them there and rape them. That's who my mama worked for. Powerful, rich people. And so I'm sitting there, and I would see her take food. I asked my mom, I said, Mom, why you get up so early in the bad wintertime and go out there? If I didn't go out there, you wouldn't eat. I said, what you mean? See, if them white folks ever found out it didn't take them $100 a day to eat, when I go shop, I shop for the house, for the neighbors. Okay. Okay, Mom. But let me tell you something. I watch you come home and pray over that stolen stuff. My mama. But I'll make a deal with you. If you come down in the basement and pray over what I stole, I'll come up here and pray over you stole. I'm a better thief than you, Mama. I just can't justify mine through prayer, okay? And then she started crying. I said, I don't want to hear that. I'm 9 years old. I've been watching you for a long time. You the one that told me Santa Claus was a white man and you buying the toys. And you think you fit to raise a family? Do you think you are? And so when I was 9 years old, man, me and my brother Skeezix, we went to every opera in St. Louis, okay? We didn't know you supposed to wear a tuxedo. We just put on our little sneakers, our little knickers, and go in, and we made good money, man. We'd be right down first class with the rich white folks, I didn't know what they were singing. I just hear them white folks hollering bravo and throw flowers. So we started hollering bravo, and we'd bring flowers and throw them up on the stage, right? And by the time we was 14, we could sing every opera that ever been written and the language it was written in, okay? And so when you stop and think about, you know, what this is about, how can God make a watermelon and a cheesy, ungodly, unspiritual white boy make you ashamed of something God made? Are y'all crazy? He puts his shame on us. What's he doing to watermelons he's ashamed of? We'll take a woman and lay her down naked and open up her legs and look up in it and then split a watermelon. You see the same color. Except he's low down, he'll have sex with a watermelon and then want to put it on us. Let me tell you something. If you watch the pictures that white folks do, the cartoons of black folks eating watermelon. Did you notice there's no women? It's only men, big red lips, laughing, all of them laughing, and a watermelon in front. Why? It's a sex thing to him, not to us. That's why you ain't never seen a cartoon of a woman, black, eating it, huh? And so we sit here and we let him run his game down, and then we pick it up. For years. I couldn't understand the little black disc jockey on rich white folk. I see no clans, poor, ignorant white folks with it. The little black jockey, huh? And I kept saying to my friend, man, I didn't know jockeys had lanterns. Only person I ever seen with a lantern was Paul Revere. And then all that crap they tell us is the first person died with the Revolutionary Army, was Christmas Addict. Then when I got to doing the research, Christmas Addict died because he was shot in the back. Ain't nobody behind him but Americans. Okay? So one day we got to thinking we would go out in the white suburbs and throw bricks at the little black jockey on the lawn to try to break it. And then one day I said, man, there's something wrong with what we doing. So let's check it out. That ain't no black jockey, huh? That is one of the fine military minds in the world. Jocko. 14 years old. His daddy was a genius, but his daddy didn't even have to fool with George Washington because the 14-year-old could run war games around him. So one day, George Washington see Jocko. And Jocko said, hey, Pop, what's up? He said, everything's fine. He said, no, come on, don't lie to me. I see something's wrong. He said, we got a problem. I see down there where my army is, that's where I believe the British is going to come. Where my army is. I believe the British is going to come there. He said, I do too. He said, but there's a possibility he can come up here in this hill where you are, and I can't split the army in half because we couldn't win. Here's what 14-year-old Jocko said to him. We can solve that. You keep your army intact down there by the river, and I'll stay up here, and if the British come this way, I can see them 3 hours away when they turn that curve, that corner, and I'll take this lantern and wave it. And when you see that lantern waving, y'all got enough time to get up here. Well, George Washington was right. Jocko was right. They came down the river, and Washington beat them all up, killed them, his army. The next day, they battled all night. He broke away from his troops and said, I'll be right back. He went up to thank Jocko, and when he got up there, Jocko had froze to death holding that light, and that's a symbol of loyalty, huh? We don't know that, huh? A symbol of loyalty, huh? That's what that black... Them Muslim crackers that got it, they don't know what it is. They don't know, have an idea what it is, but that's the universal God. That's how it works. And so when you look at Bill Cosby, that had nothing to do about no women. I got 7 daughters and 3 sons. There's nobody out here can have more respect for women than me. But you've been here long enough to know an athlete and an entertainer can do anything they want, and nobody give a damn. So why Bill? Why Bill? 30 years ago when they killed his son, Bill was getting ready to buy NBC. NBC was bankrupt and was for sale. Him and his partner. And they said, oh, and that's when they killed his son. Now, how stupid can you be when they say he's on the highway? Since when do robbers rob people on the highway, cars going 30, 40, 50, 60, 90 miles an hour? No. When they said he had a flat, Bill knew that upscale Mercedes he had couldn't have a flat. Now, 90% of the cars out here now have the same kind of tires that Mercedes had. It reboots itself. Your wife, your daughter, your son can be driving and have a flat, and it'll reboot itself. Bill knew that, and that's what almost ran him crazy, because he knew that was a lie. Huh? He knew it was a lie. But y'all keep missing white supremacy. Huh? Well, y'all crazy enough to believe that that little thug punk over there in Muslim country can hold off the mightiest armies in the world. I say, come on, y'all. We got trillions of dollars worth of satellites in the sky. You think they didn't see that punk? He was trained by General Petraeus, huh? They faked like they was locking up this group, and Petraeus was there training them. Now, who is General Petraeus? When he got arrested, they said it was about his girlfriend. You think an old, ignorant, ungodly, unspiritual general, huh, that rape women, rape children, you think that man? We all expect that out of them thugs. Here's what he got busted for. The last election, 2 weeks before the election, General Petraeus and them was going to overthrow the government. I buckle up, black folks, with your silly self. They was planning on killing Romney. Okay? Romney. Okay? And then General Petraeus would be the savior, because he would come out and they would pick him on a phone count to take over the place of Romney. And then they would, that's what the game was, but they got caught. Okay? Now, if I was president, I couldn't tell nobody about that. The trillions of dollars of foreign money we have in this country, it would leave. There's certain things that happen you can't tell nobody. Huh? And so that's what happened. So y'all sit around here and don't know one thing. When a black man, for the first time in the history of America, become president, and 90% of y'all had never heard of him 12 years before, what kind of fool are you? Huh? What kind of fool are you? Huh? And so y'all sit here and you go to this game selling these wolf tickets, and they don't work. Man, ever since I was conscious, looking at president, I ain't never saw nobody jump over the White House fence more than 4 times in my life, except with Obama. They jump the fence every day. They bring their wife, their children, the rabbit, the dog. Oh, boy, I wish I was president. Okay, see, don't think wrong with Obama. He keep letting the white side come out, his mama's side. He don't let that Negro side. And let's talk about that word. Huh? All right, don't say nigger no more. Well, you go to the movie, they can say it. You go to the concert, they can say it. Now, here's the sad part. When that decision was made, it wasn't one black person sitting in the room to make that decision. Don't that make you feel bad? Don't that make you feel bad? Nobody in the room. Can you imagine Jews being told they can no longer use the word swastika or concentration camp, huh? Or crematorians, huh? And y'all walk around strutting, kicking, all your crazy stuff, all that football stuff that happened at the University of Missouri, that ain't happened. All you got to do is say, when's the last time you heard of a black football player, huh? In college doing something conscious, huh? All at once, let me tell you, the most racist person on a white college campus is the white football coach. Why? Because he recruit black folks, can outrun God with a ball. And he ain't never had a Negro talk trash to him. Yeah, man, you better stop yelling at me and go home. You might find me with your mama. He ain't never heard joning, and he hates it, but ain't nothing he can do, because he makes 4 times more money than the president because of them black players. When you look at a football game, you see slavery all over again. The Negro in the field with a ball, which ain't nothing but cotton, and the white boy sitting on the bench with a clipboard trying to act intelligent. And how you thug black folks can send your children to Georgia, Alabama, and Mississippi. And when Obama was elected president the first time, they had to bring the troops out. Them white folks at Ole Miss went so crazy, and they killed about 14 of them, but they kept it quiet. 14 whites, okay? And you keep sending your children there to play a game. And let me just say this to you. Brothers, I'm listening to you, and I hear the consciousness. 98% of black men and women have done more for the humanities than 99% of black entertainers and black entertainers and football. Y'all don't know that, huh? The NAACP, the urban, they ain't what they used to be. But at one time, the NAACP was labeled as a terrorist outfit. And then you punks come through talking your trash, talking your stuff, huh? I was there. If we was in Baltimore tonight in a restaurant and there's 30 black folks sitting in there and that white racist cop come in and say, all right, y'all get out of here. I know I'm going to die. What about you? Y'all can talk that trash, huh? I hear you talking it. You tell your sons. If a white racist hating cop jump out the car, behave yourself. Anytime you, black person, tell a son that came out your belly, black man, a son that came out your sperms, for them to respect filth, there ain't no greater fool than you. Somewhere you got to understand death is better, because when you go to the army, and I was there before it was integrated, and that white officer couldn't handle black people, tell you to take that hill, you didn't ask about your son. You ran up that hill and got shot down. But now when it comes time to defend your children, who in the world do you think will look at tapes night after night where the cops are shooting y'all down like rabbits, and you sit and let them have the right to debate about it? Well, wait a minute now, okay? And then you want to walk around talking about you a man. Well, I tell you what that real God feels about. And then I tell you who I am. That real God. Look at you, and you let a cracker, redneck, white man destroy your manhood, and then you're going to try to get it back in your lady's womb. Okay? And that angers the God. I gave you this, and they took it for you. And then we sit around and they wouldn't let Mary in the inn. Are y'all crazy? Christmas will be here in a minute. Get a pregnant woman and see if you can check her in the hotel to have a baby. You go to the hospital to have babies. You go to the hotel to make babies. So ain't nothing changed. And you still singing that old bullshit song. Oh, they wouldn't let... Come on, y'all. And so somewhere you have to understand that movement. That movement. And then you come through here, and you know Thurgood Marshall was an agent. Huh? And some of you won't believe it now. That's on you. Huh? You didn't know Alex Haley ain't wrote none of that stuff. Okay? That Kentakuta came out of Harry Colander's book. Now, you know what's good about it? Because if it wasn't the internet, I wouldn't even tell you all that. Y'all believe anything white folks say you. And I know you're going to say you don't. I know you. Huh? Let me tell you something. There's a book called The African, one of the great books written by a white dude named Harold Colander. Punch it up on your computer. The trial that took place in upstate New York. So it's already on the record. And that white federal judge put his finger in Alex Haley's face and said, I've never seen nothing like this in all my 30-some years on the bench. Kentakuta came out of that white boy's book, word for word. And he said, so here's what I'm going to do. Y'all come back in here tomorrow, Okay, Murray Fisher wrote all that stuff. Alex Haley ain't wrote nothing. Alex Haley came out of naval intelligence to get Malcolm for this government, huh? So he said, tomorrow, bring a check in here of $650,000, and you stand in front of my court and admit that you stole this, or you going to jail. It's already there. All you got to do is punch it up. And those of you that got good memories, when Alex Haley died, when they killed him, thing he had put out there that he got credit for would have brought in billions of dollars worth of royalties. Do you remember? If not, Google it. They had to sell off his farm to pay his bills. Does that sound like somebody that was making billions of dollars, huh? Thurgood Marshall, let me ask you, how many black folks you think was lynched in the state of Kansas? How many you remember hearing about it, huh? So why did one of the most important cases in the history of America was Brown versus Topeka, Kansas? And I'll never forget that day, May the 17th, 1954. And I kept asking myself, wait a minute, Mississippi, Georgia, Alabama, Florida, that'll lynch you just to be lynching you, but that case didn't come out of there. That was one of the deals that Thurgood Marshall made with them white folks. Okay, so the South wouldn't be embarrassed. But let me tell you something. If you black or white, assume that you were them two black lawyers in South Carolina that was taking two cases to the Supreme Court on the integration of schools, and the Supreme Court would have had to take it on their merit. And you sit around here now and watch some jive punk. So when I talked to his wife, she said, well, Thurgood he wanted to do that to prove to Hoover there wasn't no communists in the civil rights movement. How many black folks you think got killed on his reports? Huh? How many? Huh? Why you think he made the Supreme Court so easy? Okay? And so when you stop and think about telling us, I've heard black folks all my life say, black folks is like a bunch of crabs in a pot of hot water. Y'all ever heard that? Once one gets to the top, what happens? You know the story, anybody? You're like a bunch of crabs in a pot of hot water. Once one gets to the top, the others pull them down. Let me tell you, black punks, that's the hot water that make them act like that, huh? Not they crabism. Okay? Did you hear me? When you see me acting up in the street, that's this white filth that's been hanging around me that make me act like that. Go out somewhere where crabs hang out on the lake, the beach, and see if they pulling on one another, huh? They come out with some crap called the Johnny Willie Lynch letter, and you black folks flocked to that first. That letter's 300 years old. White folks didn't talk that way 300 years ago, huh? White folks didn't talk that way 300 years ago. And now, after enough of us said that come out the CIA headquarters, there's a black brother, PhD, at Berkeley that did the research and tracked him down. A black man in the CIA. He interviewed him. Huh? And y'all sitting around talking that smack. How can you black folks, huh? I want you to hear this good. How can you buy dope from the great-great-grandson of the slave master? Are you chumps crazy? From the slave master? And you don't think nothing's in it? The reason the Turks have one of the best fighting armies, they smoke that marijuana before they go to war. Grief is a violation of God. I used to hear them old black women saying, she's just grieving herself to death, huh? When Superman died, 18 months later, his wife died from lung. More people in America die from lung cancer, from grief than smoking cigarettes, So y'all take this ignorance and want to smack it up against the wall and talk that trash and make other black folks believe you, We were sent here to heal a nation, and we joined it. We the light. If I took you 5 hours from where you are now and into this old raggedy building and opened the door, it's nighttime, and there's 10 million rats in there, 40 billion roaches, all you got to do is turn the light out and they will haul ass. That's what light do to darkness. You don't shoot it. Try shooting them many rats. Just turn the light on. Sun comes out every morning and smack nighttime. Clean out the sky and never make a sound. Never make a sound. And so this is a game that you're playing. It don't work. A sister, you don't know how beautiful you are because the white folks don't convince me and you that you ugly. You walk down the street with a big old booty and you be switching it, and the brother said, woo, look at that fun. God made your booty, and that's where the doo-doo is. Woman! How a black man gonna look at that and get a sexual charge? If you cut her booty open, diamonds ain't coming out, doo-doo's coming out, And if that's some sex thing, how come, sister, black men with them big booties full of doo-doo, how come y'all don't hit on them and talk about how fine they are? Y'all crazy? Well, y'all crazy? Go out to the zoo and look at a gorilla. Look at that whole animal kingdom of monkeys. You call them ugly? See if you can find a gorilla that done bleached their hair green or blonde. Okay? And wherever you go, where that universal God is, you ain't getting in, sister. Why? God would not recognize you as something he made. The gorilla, he would. The gorilla stays the same. The chimp stays the same. You put all that mess on, and God would believe there must be another God here because I know I didn't make that mess. And one day go past Kmart and look at them big garbage cans sitting outside. That's where the trash is. And the bigger the can, the more the trash. So y'all been convinced by this ignorant brother and this thug white boy that a big booty is something fine. A big booty is something fine. Oh, my God. Somewhere. This is where we going. Okay? Why would I buy a Rolls Royce and drive down to the ghetto? Hanging out with folks that got nothing but used Chevys. You go where the Rolls Royce people hang out. Okay? And so again, I'm saying that you saw what happened yesterday in Baltimore, and you listen to that crazy, ignorant, stupid man of yours holds a press conference and says to the black people, we're not going to tolerate this tonight. Nothing's going to happen to these first responders. And she's really saying, because they'll shoot you in the head. That's what she was saying. But she forget the night of the first ride, all y'all got to do is Google it, where she told the police to stand your ground and said to them children, you deserve a night off. You look at it. And then go get a movie called Purge. Came out 2 years ago. It's the exact words they said in Purge is what she said to the children. And then I'm listening to a show today where a black retired cop told me he didn't know nothing about those type of rides. There's a movie came out 7 years ago called A Nickel Ride. It was a bunch of thug killing cops that if you wanted somebody dead, you got to them and they tricked them to come into the town, and they put them in one of them wagons and got this hill. They wanted when they got up there, they were dead. Okay? And then you got to ask yourself a question. I'm talking about Baltimore now. Ask this question. For 3 weeks, they kept running that and running it, and all you saw was 4 ignorant white killer police kicking him and beating him. You didn't see no blacks. And then when we bring this, whatever this thing we brought in called a prosecutor from Boston, and they kept saying, oh, she comes from a whole line of police. Oh, her dad was a cop. His 2 brothers was cops. Her mama was a cop. What they didn't tell you, all of them got busted for shaking down black dope pushers in the black community in Boston. They didn't tell you that, huh? All you got to do is punch it up, huh? Okay. Okay, then you can understand when she makes the indictments. It's 3 blacks and 3 whites. And none of y'all ask, where did the blacks come from? All we saw was white. Where'd they come from? Okay. And all over the world, they can't call it a racial incident. All over the world, they can't call it racism. And then you black folks in Baltimore, you need, listen, they said your high school students, and you watch it, you can see one girl out there, your high school student. And then you get this old silly black woman to come out there and whoop her child in the middle of the ride, huh?
Right.
In the middle of the ride. Did y'all know? Didn't one rider get shot and then one cop get shot? Did y'all know that? Huh? So what was that about? Huh? She comes out there and they talked about her until they found out she had 6 babies out of wedlock, and you ain't saw her picture no more. They was talking about making her woman of the year and all that crap, huh? And that church was on fire. That was not a church on fire. And it wasn't in the black community. It was 2 blocks from John Hopkins. And the black preacher and them was going to build this place. Where'd they get the money from? They bought it from John Hopkins. Who had it insurance? George Hopkins. Who gets the insurance money? John Hopkins. Huh? All right? But y'all sitting there looking at it. And then some black mother turned her child in. See, he was the one that was trashing that police car. Now, let me tell you black folks something. Okay? Ain't nothing going to make you sad because you beyond that. The mother brought him in, and they put $100,000 bond on him. And if you counted the bond on all the cops that was arrested, it didn't come to $100,000.
Wow.
And you church people didn't feel bad. You know, you church people, you got a church, it ain't going to cost you nothing. Huh? Okay? 10%, but you're a pillar of society. You don't have to pay nothing. And you thugs sit there and try that. Let me tell you something else. I was in Baltimore that day. I came for the funeral. Huh? I came for the funeral. I left my car at home because I was there to my wife. And Reggie Turan, a friend of mine here, hey, man, picked me up at the train station. I'm not driving because right after the funeral, about an hour after, the rides will start. How'd you know? Because this is for the national press. The worldwide press is here covering the funeral. They're going to leave and have lunch, and I'll be damned. A call comes into City Hall. Huh? The students have been out of school at 2 o'clock, and nobody in City Hall gave the order. School's out at 3 o'clock. To this day, nobody found out why that school was let out. All over the world, people didn't know. Across the street from that shopping mall was the school. And 50 buses come there and let them black students out of school, out off the bus to go to school. When they came back, the bricks was on there. Where'd they come from?
Right.
Them black children didn't leave with bricks in their book bag, huh? And y'all take anything, and they told you it was high school students, not high school dropouts. When the world began to question it, the next day, Baltimore came up and said, oh, it was the black gorillas. Huh? Oh, because they know high school students couldn't do that. And then ask yourself something else. They said they was breaking into the drugstore, getting drugs. Anybody listening to me that's ever had a prescription filled, you go there, give it to the folk. They have to look for where the stuff is. There's a federal law. Any drugs that a pharmacist have to be under lock and key. Where them little tots know where the lock and key was, huh? Anything they tell you about your black children, as long as they black and as long as you that ignorant, you accept it, okay? They said, oh, they broke a couple of bones. Nobody. I'm wondering where my man is. He used to be one of the bright lawyers on the planet, Billy Murphy. I don't know where he coming from. You mean nobody took a court case to ask to see the autopsies of the cops that was lying? They standing there with all that gear on just like soldiers do in battle, huh?
Uh-huh.
And you tell me them little tots was throwing bricks and broke their bones, huh? And y'all buy that, huh? You buy that? And then all at once, last night, hung jewelry? And everybody said, well, they're going to retry him again. What was the jewelry? You mean a black judge didn't pull the jewelry? That's what the world's looking for, huh? If he'd have done that to a white boy, huh, they would get him off the bench, huh? So y'all sit there and play your games. Then you got to ask yourself another question. When I come there Saturday, I got a picture of James Earl Ray. I got a picture of Lee Harvey Oswald. Huh? I got a picture of him. Okay, they say he killed Kennedy. Kennedy didn't die in Dallas. He was a vegetable. And let me tell y'all something. Truth don't have to be validated by your ignorance, so don't be calling me about it, huh? All right? Now let me tell you something. Kennedy died April of 71 on Onassis Island. That's what Onassis married. That drug pusher, the dope pusher. Can't think of his name now. Onassis. Mm-hmm. And all the Kennedys that was being killed, that's what it was about. Okay? I'm the one released the pictures with Ron Brown with the bullet in the back of his head. That order came down from Clinton, who you all think is next to God. Clinton. And also when I come there, Monica Lewinsky, I'm going to show you a picture. I have it blowed up. The picture that went around the world. She's on the White House lawn hugging the president. But when you look at the picture, everybody there got on summer T-shirts. She got on a winter outfit. They cropped that picture in there. Now, the reason I'm telling you this is to clean up what I'm fixing to say. When I saw the black police chief get fired and the mayor say she ain't going to run again, I said, I wonder what kind of pictures they got on them. What kind of pictures? Y'all talk your smack if you want to. Whatever they got, they didn't have to do. They know when you see these pictures I'm going to show you tomorrow, you know how they can trick pictures, A little fat, plump, out-of-work Jewish girl is going to threaten the most powerful man on the planet, Clinton? Come on, y'all. And so this is what we're saying. Where y'all come from? You go to Chicago and you saw that picture of that young black boy? Go back and look at it. And then while you look at it, pull up the Ferguson picture. When Brother Brown is coming out that cigar store, look at it. He got on flip-flops and short pants. 15 minutes later, he laying there dead with long pants and Nikes on. What kind of fools are y'all? And that he laid there for 4.5 hours, and you didn't see one ambulance. You didn't see one black hearse come. He laid there for 4.5 hours, and you looking at it with your eyes. Somewhere. So somewhere you have to start looking and seeing things, not just what this white boy send you, Cracker. What's a cracker? I worked the floods from the time I was 14 to the time I graduated from high school. And I saw white folks right at the back of their neck, that sun, right before they have a sunstroke, that turns red. And that white skin, that poor white skin, that's what mean when you say a poor redneck cracker. Okay, what's a honky? Huh? Prostitution is for the benefit of white men. And somebody asked me on TV, you mean black men? No, I don't have to see her. She's my sister. I get her after she leave you, soaking wet and a fistful of money. So since it's for the benefit of white boys, why don't you put your whole houses at the First National Bank downtown, huh? But no, you put it 50 miles. When I went to college, Southern Illinois University, a white college, Ma Hatchett, a black woman, ran the whole house with nothing but black holes, and black students couldn't come in there, okay? Ma Hatchett, okay? The whole house for white boys. And so when they would a whorehouse and you don't want nobody to see you, you don't put it in Baltimore. You take it 50 miles in some remote area. And so when they pull up with them mayors and them governors that's there for a country convention, the driver honks the horn. That's where the word honkies come from. Okay? Now they got you believing in some racial, there ain't no damn racial slur. Huh? But I can understand you, because if a white boy walk up to you tonight and say nigger and hit you, that's a hate crime. Huh? That's a hate crime. If he walk up and say N-word and hit you, that's not a federal case. That goes locally to your cousin. That white boy's cousin might be on the bench. Are y'all crazy? Are y'all crazy? Huh? Now, let me tell you something about me. Black folks made me. Hefner, the first black comic in the history of America that was permitted to work a white nightclub, was me. Okay? Me. And my loyalty is, when I was making $5 a night in the black club when I wasn't funny, it was black folks that came to see me, listened to me till I got so funny they pushed me all the way downtown. I wasn't making $10 a night. I was making $250 a week, 7 days a week. And when I went into the Jack Paul show, and thank God, Billy Eckstein told me, Jack Paul, I didn't know I was going to Jack Paul show. He didn't know I was going. He just told me why he never worked it, because Jack Paul would never let a Negro sit down on the couch. And I started crying, and I left. And I walked 92 miles to get home, 92 yards in the wintertime, crying. For what? I've been marching Paul for 5 years. I work Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Paul's on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, but on Friday they run reruns. And the whole time I'm looking at it, I never noticed that. Huh? And so, all at once, Time magazine ran a front page story. New York, it comes out on Sunday. Huh? On Sunday in New York. Paul called my house. My wife answered the phone. I was so embarrassed I never even told her. Huh? She was happy. Said, Greg, that's Paul's office. I get on the phone. Dear Gregory, yeah, this is Mr. So-and-so. I'm Jack Paul's manager. I'm Mr. Paul's manager. He said the article in Time magazine, he'd never seen anything like it. He wanted to know if he can bring you in for the show tonight. I said, nope. And I hung up. And as I'm crying and I'm saying to my wife, because she didn't know, the phone rang again. And now it's Jack Paul. He said, Dick, this is Jack Paul. How come you don't want to work my show? I said, because the Negroes never sit on the couch. He said, that's not true. I said, Mr. Paul, the Negroes never sit on the couch. He said, well, come on in. I'll let you sit on the couch. And I went in and sit on the couch, and I was doing a routine on the couch about my children. So many people called in that night in New York City NBC circuits blew out. I was getting thousands of letters saying I didn't know black children and white children was the same until I listened to you. Okay? So my loyalty is to them black folks that made me. That's why I've always been in the phone book. I ain't never had a bodyguard, and I always come back home to you. I'm out there. I got shot in Watts. Why? At one time, I was making more money than Frank Sinatra. That's what you did for me, huh? That's my love, huh? Always in the phone book. White folks would call and say nasty things, and my children would answer the phone, and they'd just laugh. They tell them, we're going to come and rape your mama. They say, I think he's doing that now.
So Baba, I have a question for you. You brought up a good point.
Can
you hear me?
No. Go ahead. No, I got you.
Okay. I have a question for you. You brought up a good point. And the point that you brought up is that you never really left the community because the communities would basically give you your start and your foundation to take you to where you went. And I hear a lot that is impossible. Could you just what are your thoughts about people who say they can't come back to the community? And look,
wait a minute. That's what I was telling y'all earlier. Huh?
Yes, sir.
Because y'all got a show like this, don't expect everybody to have it. Huh? Now, let me tell you something, and then I'll answer the question. Have you ever heard the word the mother tongue?
Yes.
You ever heard the word the father tongue?
No.
Okay, because dads don't count. Before there was marriages, huh? Trillions of years ago when God put this planet together, huh? You think the daddy counted, huh? Huh? When you in your mother's belly, you and her is talking. We know about the electrons in the brain, the whole electrical system.
Yes,
the second amount of electrons in your body is in your stomach, okay? And you and her are communicating. And then after you born, you're still communicating. And then black folks decided if you stop talking colored, you might can get the job. So we the only people on the planet now that gave up the mother tongue, okay? You go to a Chinese restaurant tonight, and when they take your order, they take it in English. But when they standing over there against the wall waiting for it, they talk in Chinese. Go to an Italian restaurant, huh? And so what I'm saying is that I don't know. I have no idea. When I'm in them clubs, I made a deal with myself. If I didn't bring a woman into this club, I'll never take one out, okay? This is not my party. This is my steel mill. This is my hustle. I'm going to take no woman to a steel mill or go to a steel mill looking for some booty. Okay, the people at the club, they not at their job. They out partying. I'm at my job. I had no money then. I borrowed money and bought me 3 suits because we had 3 shows a night, and I never walked out before them black folks with the same suit on. And the first thing I did Monday morning was carry them suit to the cleaners and get them cleaned and pressed. Oh, we listened to all that crap about them black jazz musicians. Oh, Miles Davis, one of my good buddies. How he turned his back on white folks. But we don't talk about Nina Simone that did something no black jazz man did. She said, Mississippi, goddamn, huh? A black woman. And y'all talk all that trash about what them men was doing. Who cares about? She said, Mississippi, goddamn. And not one of them punk jazz musicians ever cussed Mississippi, okay? And so all I did was thankful to the people who made me. I gave millions of dollars to the movement. That's the only way I could give back, okay? They don't have the money to come downtown. And let me tell you what I did. Every show that I signed a contract for, my office, they had to put a clause in there. If you run an advertisement in the local paper And if there's a black newspaper within a 100-mile radius, you don't run it in that, you forfeit my contract. Okay? All right? When they cut off the food stamps, and that was Kennedy, cut off the food stamps to Mississippi to try to stop the voting thing. I'm the one that flew 70, food plane, loaded up the plane. 70 tons of food every 2 weeks. And then I found out looking at Kathy Hughes' show that they got the tapes where the president said, because he's so rich and famous, he's hurting us internationally, so bring the food stamps back. Okay? All right? People ask me to say, Mr. Gregory, when you go down south, do you go to tell your jokes? No. When I go down south, I go to die. When I walk up on the stage, I go to tell jokes. When I'm on that stage, I don't expect to be killed. When I'm down there, I do. And I would never stoop to the level. When America want to get rights for them foreign countries, they don't take comedians, huh? They take the mightiest military in the world. So why would I do less? And so to answer your question, that's all I ever knew. That's all I ever knew was that, huh? Everybody out there, you know, people in the NAACP might not be willing to die. I was. The night that I knew they was going to kill me and Medgar Evers, that's the night my oldest son died. He was like 2 weeks old. And you couldn't stay in hotels. So I was going to stay in Medgar's home that night like I always did. And just thank God the plane came in late, so I didn't get to go by his house. So we went right to the rally. And I said to Medgar, something don't feel right. Can you feel it? I said, look at that black man there. Something ain't right. And he said, I'll tell you later. And I said, well, I think they might throw a bomb in the church. So just keep your eyes open. So that's when he came back and told me to call home. He didn't want to tell me. My wife had told him my son had died. I said, I'll call after. And she said, no, it's urgent. No, she wants you to call. I said, I can't. I told you, I think they're going to kill us. And I'm going to be here. And so then he said to me, he said, Greg, I think she said your son died. I can't do nothing about it. Huh? If I was fighting the battle for this sleazy, ungodly, spiritual white boy in the military, and they said my son died, they wouldn't let me go make a phone call. They'd keep me up on that hill shooting.
Right.
And so after it was over, he carried me to Memphis, and I hugged him, and I said, man, I don't think I'll see you no more. I said, but I was thankful for the right to die with you. And then 2 weeks later, Della Beckman killed him. Now let me tell you something. Let me tell you this. That poor, ignorant white boy didn't have no money for a lawyer. Kennedy, out of all the land on the planet, hear me good now, out of all the land on the planet, Kennedy paid him $50,000 to buy that piece of land to build a post office on. That's how he got the money to get a lawyer. Okay? And y'all think Kennedy is, come on, y'all. And so this is what it's about. It's about there's a universal God, huh? That put you together. The same God that made you, made Queen Elizabeth, all the rich people in the world. He didn't give them no special privileges. The Catholic Church do. The Baptist Church do. Huh? If you Dr. So-and-so, you get to park your car. If I had me a church, you know what I would do? Or couldn't y'all come? What about Grandma? Huh? That ain't got no job because they didn't let her go to school. So you got 5 PhDs, nice little bank account. I would make all y'all park 3 blocks down the street. That would be the church land. And that's where you all were taught. And you put a robe on like the monks, all of you. I don't want to see your $10,000, $15,000 dresses. I don't want to see your fancy shows, huh? God don't need to look at them. And I put all y'all on robes. You park your Rolls Royce, your Buicks, your bicycles there. You get on the bus, and we drive you 3 blocks to the church, and everybody sitting there look alike. You got on a robe. We don't see your jewelry. And then when you leave there, you put it back on and get the hell home. Now, my grandmother is not embarrassed. You got black folks embarrassed to come to church on Easter because they don't have the proper clothes, and y'all don't feel that, huh? Y'all walk around talking your talk and going through all your crap stuff. You'll say things to black folks that you wouldn't dare say to a white person, huh? When you go
Baba, let me ask you a question. Do you mind taking calls? Because we have some listening audience. Do you mind taking calls at all?
Please do. No,
all right,
please.
family. So if you want to talk to Baba Dick Gregory, living legend, he's talking about a lot of things. He's talking about his history. I'm definitely. It's taking me through emotional. I didn't live through those times, but it's definitely taking me and making it. As real as they can possibly be to me, but it's definitely real.
Wait a minute. Let me say something to you before we go another step.
Mm-hmm.
Had a black person call me up talking about these young black boys wearing their pants below their butt. And I said, I can't make a comment on that. She said, why? I said, because I used to drink a fifth of scotch every day, okay, for 30 years. You know how many days I drove drunk, which is a felony? Driving, walking with your pants below your butt is not a crime. I was committing a crime, so you have to go find somebody else. But the folks, that was the priest that was ripping off them little boys, they didn't have their pants below their belt. The Ku Klux Klan don't wear their pants below their butt. These killing cops that have gunned black folks down and nothing happened, they don't wear their pants below their butt, huh? So what's wrong with y'all? They talk about the young black folks on crack. Let me tell you something. More you black folks tomorrow will die, okay? Because you hooked to salt and sugar. Then will OD on hard drugs in the next year. Did you hear me? All right? And when they go take their little crack and their drugs, they don't have to take 15, 20 different medicines in the morning just so you can eat some bacon. What kind of fool is you? And what you don't know, the number one drugged out state in America as we talk is Vermont. The whole time I've been on this phone, 81% of everybody who's OD'd in America is white folks, but they don't tell you that. Okay, that's why they're talking about letting them out of jail. That's why they're talking about they got to have certain things in the first response wagon, because if they had that, they might not die. And so I'm sorry, but now we go back to your question, the lady or the vans on the phone. I'd love to talk to them.
Not a problem. So thank you again. So family, if you want to get on the line with Baba Dick Gregory, just push 1. Just go ahead and push 1 if you have any questions that you want to talk about. And we're waiting on that, Baba. I have a question. You spoke about your history and, just the experience that you had. In this show, we try to inspire people to become entrepreneurs and so on and so forth. Could you touch on just a little bit of what kept you going? Because when I'm talking about entrepreneurship, when we talk about entrepreneurship here, we're talking about that spirit, and this is the spirit that you had in the movement, the spirit that you had in the in the career, the spirit that you had in your entrepreneurship ventures. So, what instilled that spirit in you?
You know what? Let me say something to you. If you and your partner was brain surgeon, cutting out tumors, you do me a disservice to ask me to discuss it. Y'all the brain surgeons. Y'all get on the show and you make it easy. The people don't know how much research y'all do to put this together, huh? So you can't walk down the street. You think Jewish people walk down the street and say, couldn't you do it? No. Here's the money. Here, you go to school. You do this. You do that, huh? That's what this is about. Astronauts, You think they were just walking down the street and decide they're going to be an astronaut? Everybody going to pay some dues but us. That's your job. That's your job, entrepreneur, okay? I'm a celebrity. People would buy my books and stuff because I was a celebrity. I ain't going to trick these young children and let them think they give a damn about buying their stuff. Mine, I get multi-million-dollar royalties. Why? Because I'm Dick Gregory. Because I'm Dick Gregory. That's why. When I had my health thing in, it was only in the black community. I was making $650,000 a day, every day, okay? And you think I'm going to trick these black students on that? That's y'all's job to talk about entrepreneur. My job is to talk about how you crazy black women and white women go to the nail salon, and that Korean sitting there with a mask on, she's 2 inches from you, and you don't ask for a mask. Check out their fingers. They don't have that crap on their fingers, huh?
That makes sense.
Those are the things that you come up. But children, there's some children out here now. It's called the indigo children. They don't need us. They black and white, huh? Silicon Valley, they go out there, man, no money. In 2 years, they multi-billionaires, okay? This is a new vibration that's hit here. If you and your man wasn't doing this show, you're the only two black folks racing cars. You can't ask me to tell some black children about racing. That's your job, huh? People want to talk about entrepreneurship. They hire you all. I just finished doing a thing on comedy. I'm the master at that, huh? But that's your job, and you got to understand. Just because you make it look easy and just because you feel good with it, no. I know you. I've listened to you before I came on, man. I heard it in your voice, huh? I heard it in your voice, huh? And so when you stop and think about, you think about a black woman, she's the only woman, American black woman on the planet that can take a butter knife and cut your tire to the rim. Did you hear me? She don't go to school. That butter knife she got, you had it this morning with toast. It wouldn't even cut through the butter. And she ain't been nowhere to learn. And all she asked you is, who is Melba? And when you went out there, I'm talking about truck tires, who the white folk gave a 10-year guarantee. That don't mean nothing to the sister when you hit that button, huh? And let me tell you something else. Her means the woman. Hurricanes. It's called hurricanes because it's the spirit of a black woman. All hurricanes start right there in West Africa, where the slaves was put on the ship. Did y'all hear me? All hurricanes stay underwater and follow the same path the slave ship followed. Did you hear me? No slave was offloaded the ship till it got to the Caribbeans, huh? No hurricane jumps above water till it get to the Caribbeans. It'll hit this country and come all the way up the East Coast, all the way to Maine. Canada's right across the street from Maine. Canada's never had a hurricane because Canada never treated black women that we did in America. But we don't know who the sister is, and she don't know, okay? That's what this is about. And so when you stop and think about, huh? This is what they say about Rosa Parks. Oh, she was tired. And she just didn't feel like getting up. Think about what they're saying. Had she not been tired, the thing that tipped off the greatest movement in the history of the planet never would have happened. But when you do your homework, I never lived in the Deep South. I didn't know when black folk got on the bus, they had to get on the front and pay their fare, then get off and walk to the back. Huh? All right? And white folks sit in the front half, black folks sit in the back half. Okay? A lot of times you get on and the bus driver be hitting on black women. Hey, Tootsie, woo, Lord, oh, stop that, boy. Oh, you so beautiful. She didn't take that. She just looked him in the eye and let him know, I'm not your woman to play with. I didn't get on this bus to be fantasized by you. I got on this butt. Huh? I didn't hear you.
No, that was some feedback in the background. I'm sorry about that.
Okay, so what I'm saying is, so she sit on the butt. Let me tell you who Rosa Parks was. Her daddy, light complected, angry, because he wanted to be a Garvey knight, and Marcus Garvey wouldn't let no light complected Negroes in. And so he sits on the porch every night with his double-barrel shotgun and dared white folks to come up there and mess with his house. That's what she grew up with. So she ain't just some punk, silly seamstress. And one day, he got so angry because she wouldn't go along with his friend. He drove off and left her. And let me tell you what she told me. Had I known it was him, I wouldn't have got on the bus. Say, thank God that real God didn't let you know. And let me tell you something else she knew. 18 months before, she wouldn't stand up. A black soldier didn't belong to no organizations, nothing, none. Got on the bus with his uniform. Bus driver pulled over, went to a telephone box, called the police. They snatched him off and stomped him to death right in front of the bus. Do you think Rosa didn't know that? 6 months later, another soldier did the same thing. So when she got on that bus and didn't get off, let me tell you how it worked. If you sitting on the aisle where she was, no white man could sit next to you, okay? So you had to get up, although there was an empty seat, or a white man couldn't sit across from an aisle where Negroes. So for one man, white, to be seated, 4 people had to get up and give them their chair. And she just sit there. And now they talk about, oh, she was tired. And so again, I'm saying, as we start looking at this and feeling this, we will see things. And we see it now. We see it now. I went to a funeral for one of my granddaughters the other day, and I looked at them when they saw her in the coffin. One of my children came up there and took all that stuff off her face and repainted it so she looked like herself. The worst thing in the world is because how many black folks can buy a cemetery? Got that kind of money. So all your cemeteries is owned by white folks. So when you look at that redneck cracker standing there with them Roman Avenue shoes with mud on them, throwing dirt in your mother's face. So what did my children do? After we left, they went up and said, we'll take the shovels. And they filled up the grave. Okay, this new group of youngsters that's coming through. Okay? And everything is going to change. Change. And so, again, before I take this, I say thanks to you all, man. Thanks to the people that's doing this. Thanks to Muhammad Ali. They never told Muhammad Ali they were going to kill him. They said, well, shut your mouth, boy, and didn't they? And they come through with this old silly movie, The White Boy. So that's the one movie made more money than all of Ali's fights. Did you hear me? Did you hear me? That's what white supremacy should do. And so again, I just say thank you, and I'm ready to talk to you people on the phone.
Well, brother Dick Gregory, you know, there's so many things that you speak of, and I've just been so thrilled to hear you speak. And one of the things that I remember you stating a little bit earlier on the show was that you always return to our people. You know, you remain loyal and you come back home to our people. You know, so could you speak to that? You know, why do you come back to our people? You know, what keeps you grounded? You know, you said before, you know, you've obtained celebrity status, but you still stay rooted and grounded.
But that's me. That's me. How are you going to sit there and some other black should do the type of radio you doing? They don't have to. It's like white folks telling them, you need to do this, you need to do that. They doing what they doing and doing what they like. That don't take no conscience to do that. Y'all stupid. You got to be a football player, getting all messed up, brains being damaged, and now you're walking around. Professional athletes' life expectancy is 54 years of age. Check out your perspective and see how long y'all live, huh? You hear me? It's a game they playing, man. And I don't have to be a cop or a firefighter, but I tell you what I did when I was a child. When I was a child, everybody around me that I knew, we wanted our parents to buy us a fire truck. Not a police wagon. That's before the universal God was telling us who they are, huh? A fire truck, man. And so consequently, when I looked at my mother and the way she was when them white folks would make her evil because they didn't pay her work, that's what the cops is doing. The three most important people in the society. One is a firefighter, because if all of them took off, the whole town could burn up. Two is the cops. If all cops took up, everybody ain't going to get robbed. And three is the school teacher, okay? And they don't make nothing. Every cop, firefighter, school teacher, their children should get to go to college for free, to get free medicine. Now you thanking them, they got something to lose, huh? You let a cop hit me upside the head and lose his ability to send his children for free. Do you hate me that much? Do you hate me more than you love your children, huh? That's what this is about. I saw it in my own house. I saw how my mother treated people that treat her below her wealth, huh? Left her abandoned in the summertime. I'm talking about billionaires she worked for. And that's the payback. And so they're not doing that. They're doing it because do you realize anytime you see a white man cop with all the opportunities downtown for a white boy, he got to be some kind of dumb, ignorant white boy. He didn't like me before you gave him a gun. And let me tell you the other thing. When I was growing up, I had cousins and aunts and nieces and uncles that was whiter than white folks. So when I grew up, I saw white folks. That redneck cracker ain't never seen nobody black, and they ain't never said they're going to get a son black. They say a son tan. It's a difference. And so they never saw black folks like we saw white folks. Huh? I'm not talking about Negroes. I'm talking about the color. Okay? And so when you look at TV, you see black folks on TV whiter than white folks. So we're not scared of them, huh? They didn't see me till they come in my neighbor. They ain't see no black folks in the white community. And so this is what this is about. And somewhere, they laughed at us. The black folk came out before y'all was born. Had on a red shirt, an orange hat, green shoes, huh? Chartreuse coat. Why? White folks laugh at me. I stop being invisible. You can't laugh at me unless you see me, huh? Ice hockey was invented by runaway slaves that went to Canada, huh? Then a guy named Richard Stanley came to look at it, and after that it's been named the Stanley Cup, huh? Oscar Micheaux, him and his brother in Idaho, invented the motion picture industry. So this year, when you're looking at the Academy Award and billions of people are looking, them two black brothers invented. Why do you think they call that thing the Oscar? And it's brown, okay? All right? That's what this is about. And so somewhere
we have a
now,
caller.
I didn't hear you.
So we have a caller that wants to ask you a question.
Yeah, please.
All right, caller calling from Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky. Please state your name and your question or comment.
Motto tap, brother. This is Brother Osajipo, JT
Peace,
Wood.
Baba.
All right, Brother Gregory.
Thank you, my brother. Peace and love to you and the family.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm just so glad to hear you tonight teaching our people the way you are. And I just want to let you know that I'm just calling to say hello. It's been a long time since we've been in each other's company. I was with Reverend Lewis Coleman here.
Oh, tell me about it, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well,
And
tell me about it, huh? And when we come out to march, we come out to die. Okay, not to kill,
yes, sir.
but to die.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
You know, you started us on that march in 1996.
that's right.
And that march lasted for 1,826 days before we ended it. And we just want to thank you for being with us every step of the way.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you, thank you. Now, let me just say something to you, since I know you and you know me. When you hear people talk about me, they see what they want to see. Let me tell you what I see when I look in the mirror. A nigger-hating, redneck cracker. Me! That's who I see. Why? Because every time I got to go to Budapest in 2 months, my round-trip first-class ticket cost me $42,000. 12% of that go to taxes. You go out and buy milk for your baby, black woman, you paying taxes. So every time they drop bombs on women and children around the world, we pay that. If you was being raped and me and somebody else was holding you, they could never put me in jail for rape, but I have violated a crime, okay, and I will pay for it. So when them bombs start falling on my wife and children and grandchildren, I'll just look around because I don't know what took you so long, champ. But y'all look in and y'all trying to see something and you ain't looking at nothing but garbage. Garbage, huh? You pay for this filthy thing. And you black folks that, especially in D.C., that's for the Washington Redskins, are you aware that hundreds, thousands, millions of black folks ran away from slavery, huh? And went to the Indian reservation, and the Indians said to the white people, you can't come in here. And they the ones that invented Thanksgiving. And you thugs prayed for Thanksgiving and never mentioned the Indians. See, I know you because I'm one of you. But I also know who I am. So I thank you, my brother.
Oh, brother. Man, wish I was going to be in Baltimore to hear you speak. But we're going to have to try to get you back here in Louisville again. And hopefully we can have a celebration.
I love it.
Of life. We'll be looking forward to it, man.
All right,
so y'all have a good evening, man, and continue the conversation. And I'm going to keep listening, man. I'm really enjoying this. Just wanted to say hello.
Thank you.
Y'all have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Mahotep. All right.
Mahotep people. So, Brother Sankofa, could you tell the family again how they could join us? It doesn't matter where they are, and also include a phone number, as Baba Gregory stated earlier, for the people who need to just make that call.
Sure thing. And to you, Elder Sajafo, Brother Woods, you know, even though you might not be able to come physically, you can definitely tune in live for the HD streaming. That's also another option as well, too. So that way you can still be included in the action. Yes, there is an event taking place soon, and we're going to, hear more of the wonderful Brother Dick Gregory. All right. The event is entitled Global Terror, State of the World in the Midst of War. And it's going to be this upcoming Saturday, December 19th, from 7 o'clock p.m. to 10 o'clock p.m. The doors open at 6 o'clock p.m. And it's going to take place at the Real News Network, located at 231 Holiday Street, Baltimore, Maryland, 21202. And you can be able to get the tickets at Everyone's Place, located at 1356 West North Avenue, and Conscious Heads Barbershop at 219 East 25th Street. And so the numbers that you can call are 410-303-4120, or you could call 443-333-2970. And so we have tickets available. And Minister Asar, if you want to, once again, just share with everybody the pricing of the tickets and, any additional information on how they could obtain or the tickets or how they could register for the event.
Not a problem, Brother Sankofa. So, family, what you want to do is go to our website at consciousblackbusiness.com, and you can register for either the live in-person event that's going to be taking place in Baltimore, and there's also a link there. You know, let's say because a lot of the people who are listening in right now are not in Baltimore or Washington D.C. or the Maryland area, or so, you know. So if you want to check this event out, it's going to be very powerful. It's going to be in HD, crystal clear HD, top technology. So definitely go to the website, Conscious Black Business Network. Click on the link. Click on the link that says live stream. Right now, the live stream is $15. It's going to go up $20 on Saturday to $20 on Saturday. So go ahead and click now. For those who want to be a part of this historical event in person, what you want to do is get your tickets now at the same website, because seats are going fast. You definitely don't want to lose your seat. And Baba, Gregory, I do want to extend our condolences to you, to your loved one.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you. And I was just saying to the family, I think I said it on this show, that when you stop and think about death, and you used to hear the old black women saying that oh, look at her, she's just dying. You see, violation, grief is a violation, okay? And I don't know if I said it earlier, when Superman died. See, there's more people die in America from lung cancer, from grief, than smoking cigarettes. And when Superman died, the movie guy, 18 months later, his wife died from lung cancer. Oh, I didn't know she smoked. She didn't. I knew Coretta King. The last 12 years of her life, she never ate cooked food. What did she die from? Grief. All right? And so when you stop and think about this new thing, if one of the two of you are going to be at the affair, if you're in town, I'm going to show you a picture of my son. You'll see him on the side of the buses in D.C. He opened up a company when he was 5 years old. I said, how'd you get the money? He said, I hacked into my daddy's account. When he's 5 years old. Did y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
And I said, did you pay him back? He said, oh, he didn't miss it. But I paid him back 2 years ago. And that company is all over the world. He makes clothes and apps. And it's one of the fine things. So if you come there, y'all would enjoy this as a business person. And I'm still trying to figure. I had my little granddaughter one day ask me, she was like 3 years old, and we go to the store, and I get in line. She said, Granddad, why are you getting in the line? He said, you can check. I said, I don't know how to do that. Oh, come on, give me this stuff. And she went and checked it out. That's who's here. Don't keep looking at this stuff, these white folks. And if you believe that these black men is walking around shooting black men, then you better ask the Jews what Hitler and them was doing. They put in your water, okay? They put in your food, okay? And that's why one day Prince called me and said, man, I just want to thank you. And my new record's coming out, the 4th album I'm dedicating to you. I didn't understand what those chemtrails was. They aim it into the black community. And then they tell you, ask yourself a question. If them black little thugs and hoodlums, they want you to think so, how come they don't shoot women? How come they don't shoot women? Because it's organ stealing, and a black man's organ is worth 1,000 times more than a black woman's organ, okay? But y'all sit here and you just believe a drive-by shooting. 98% of them shots are headshots. You can't lean out the window with a gun and shoot me in the head, okay? But they can get by with it because they got us reduced down to nothing but a piece of doo-doo. And those of you, I didn't know this when I was growing up and I had children, but I take my grandchildren now to a paper mill in Delaware. Nothing stinks like a paper mill. But the people work there don't smell it. And you black folks don't smell this nasty, dirty winch because you got used to the smell. Okay? But you haven't got used to it enough to look at yourself and see what I see in me. A redneck, nigger-hating cracker. That's who I am. Okay? Every time I spend some money, every time I spend some money, it don't go to the uplifting of black folks. It go to this white, racist, dirty system. So I know who I am, and you don't have to know who you are. There's a universal God. Killed Jesus and told me to call it a good day. I call it Good Friday. What kind of fool are you? But if you looked into it, you see it don't mean what it means. That Friday when they killed Jesus, Christmas comes 270 days after. That's why they call it Good Friday. Now, you take your birthday and count 270 days back, you find out when your mother conceived you. Now, just one of you, add 270 across, and what do you get? 2 plus 7 plus 0. What do you get?
2 plus 7 plus 0 is 10?
No, 2
9
plus 9. That's why they call it 9-month pregnancy. Oh, you hear me? That's what that's about. Okay? The day you was conceived, 270 days later, is when you come out. That's what the whole Christmas thing is about. Fall. If you lived in a 70-story building, the water gets up to your 74th through pressure, right? And if I go down the basement and shut the water off, what happens to the pressure? Leaves and the water falls. That's what happened in the spring when God shut the faucet off and everything falls and the leaves turn brown. They got y'all running around. You don't even know what's going on. That's free. Talk about playing cards. Some old niggas call that. Wait a minute, grandmother. Let me just tell you something. Let me tell you what cards are. Do you brothers know anything about cards?
I know a little. A whole not a lot, but a little.
You know how many cards is in a deck?
50. Something like that.
52?
No. That's no. Cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 365 cards in a deck. Don't that kind of sound like something? You know how many seasons until year 4? How many seasons in a deck of cards? 2 red ones and 2 dark ones. Y'all know what y'all messing with, huh? When you looking at that, you looking at the universe, huh? You looking at the universe, and then you release you down to believe, oh, God don't like no gambling. Oh, well, you better look at what it's telling you. So that's what we are. And so how do you get out of it? Well, depends on how much damage you've done to your brain. Since this white boy told you was crazy. Do y'all know that there's more brain damage done to soccer? And do you all know, as of the beginning of this year, soccer players around the world cannot hit the ball with their head no more? Did you know that? Okay? And someday we're going to learn to have respect. Have it ever asked you how we went to Vietnam? We went to Korea. We went to countries that have no money, no Harvards, no Yale. And when we come back home, we commit suicide. Right now in America, every day, 47 American veterans commit suicide. How come the Vietnamese is not committing suicide? How come the Iraqis is not committing suicide? They don't have all this. And how do you look? 3 weeks ago, and the president said, I just signed the authorization for $80 billion to buy these new planes. But I turn on TV, and we begging for money from the veterans. Send this money into here. The veterans need help. Well, you should need help. I'm a veteran. Time you let some white boy, white or black, send you to kill somebody you don't know, huh? You're a pitiful piece of doo-doo, and that's how they treat you like that. And they give you a couple of days to wave your flag, and then after that, it's over. that child they shot down in the street in Chicago. Had that been a dog, you white folks would have went crazy. So we know who you are. Some of us do. We know who you are. We know who you are. But let me tell you something before I get out of here. Nannies. I paid $2 million to bring some researchers in to study mother's milk. And when I sent the guy out to find it, I wanted number one authority. He called me and he says, yeah, we located, but it's 2 authorities on mother's milk. And wouldn't you know they men? Are you out your mind? Huh? And I said, well, tell them I'll give them $1 million a piece. But you have to do it at a black hospital. And they came in. And they said, what are you looking for? I said, you think I'm that stupid? I'm paying y'all $1 million a piece. And I'm going to tell you what I'm looking for. If I knew, I wouldn't pay you. So 2 weeks later, I don't know if any of y'all have children or watched a mother nurse a baby. If she's nursing them on the right breast, the left breast leaks. Do you know them 2 authorities thought that was milk? And I said, well, let's check it. Let's get it tested. It's poison, the universal God. All the poisons in your body while you sucking on the left breast, the right breast. That's what the universal God is about. So you don't get that poison. You don't get the chemicals, okay? That's what the real God is about, something that you keep ignoring. So when they got ready to leave, I said, now I can tell you what I'm looking for. If my mother, if 8 generations of black women was the nanny, then how many generations before you become a Negro? That's what I'm looking for, okay? You can't suck rat titties, milk, without knowing on stuff, okay? So so I heard from him 20 years later, and he said, just want to call you. When we got to our country and told them what we was doing, they gave us $50 million to continue our research. And I'm calling you now because it's already happened. I said, I know that. When you look at the Rolling Stones, ain't nothing but niggas. Are you serious? Oh, except niggas ain't ugly. You see how ugly Mike Jagger is? And with his white boy say, if you see something, if you see it, something, tell it. So I said, hey, look at that ugly white woman. What do you mean? Well, you said if I see it, tell it. And so somewhere. And let me leave y'all with this. At any time you want me, it don't have to be when I'm doing a show. Just call my house. And Larry could give you my wife. Nobody can get me without going through her. Okay. And let me tell you something. When we moved to Plymouth, Mass., to one of the richest areas in the world, I told my wife, I said, I want you to hear this and hear good. I will never go to school. I will never help the children with their homework. I'll never read a book to them. I will never look at their report card. I will never go to a game. And she didn't say nothing. And 2 years later, she grabbed me from behind and said, how'd you know? How'd I know what? That if they realize they can't see you, they're going to have to start recognizing me, not as Dick Gregory's wife, but as the mother of these children. Did you hear me? Did you hear me? Did you hear me? This is who she is. Don't respect her because of me. This is who she is. And then when you look at Bill Cosby, he's going through the same thing that they sent Tiger Woods through. You remember that drug scandal? When they busted him? Well, let me tell you, somebody called me the night his wife supposed to be, and she said, if you was down here looking at that, if I didn't tell you it was Tiger Woods, you wouldn't know it. This is a mob whooping. Okay, well, let's figure it out. He had to win 4 more games to tie Jack Nicklaus. You aware of that? Are you aware of it? 5 games. No. 5 games to be the number 1 in the history. So when they called him in and said, look here, boy, I'm going to tell you something. That white woman you had in Sweden, yeah, she was 17. That means you violated the Mann Act. That means we can give you 20 years in jail, or we can make a deal with you. You're going to have to get out for a minute and let this cool off. Well, them white folk went crazy because the Nationals almost went bankrupt. The big golf, you know why? Because 50% of everybody bought a ticket to see him lose. So if he's there, he don't that's come to see the great white hope beat him. So if he's not there, I don't need to buy a ticket, huh? And then they told him, they said, nah, after a little while, we want you to go out on that golf field with the whole world watching. And when you swing, we want you to go down and hit the ground. And then we'll take you to the hospital. And then after so long, you will retire. He's fixing to do that now. Last year, this time, he was rated number 1. Today, he's rated 280. So when he announces his retirement, it's called white supremacy. Okay? That's
yes,
what
sir.
it's called.
Yes, sir. Baba, Gregory, we want to thank you, and we do welcome the invitation, and we will be getting with Brother Jabari. And thank you for your time today and your wisdom. And we hope that this isn't the last time, as you shared. And we will be there. We're assisting Brother Jabari with this event this week, so we will be there and looking forward to it.
I'll give you all the information.
Okay. Well, again, Baba, we thank you for your time. And Brother Sankofa, any closing words? We got 90 seconds.
Sure thing. Well, Afrocentricity speaks about awareness, the 5th level, and that being a person who becomes totally changed to a conscious level of involvement in the struggle for his or her own mind liberation. So with that passage, I think about Baba Dick Gregory and all the wisdom he's provided us with. So it's been a pleasure. It's been an honor. Back to you, Minister. So thanks, Brother Dick Gregory.
All right, family, I'm going to say peace and power. Peace and power, family, and have a great night. Peace and blessings.
Thank you much. Thank you.
Peace and power.
Hi, I'm Bernadette Janae from Old Navy's design team. I love holiday parties, and nothing's better than going to those parties looking like $1,000,000. We've been perfecting your holiday looks all year. Our best-fitting jeans, sweaters, party dresses, plus fab accessories to polish them off. Guys will be huddling under the mistletoe just waiting for you to walk by. Head to Old Navy now through Monday to get 50% off the entire store, plus get 60% off all sweaters, all outerwear, and all sleepwear. So run to Old Navy today.
Valid 12/18 to 12/21. In stores only. Excludes gift cards, clearance, consumables, and beauty.